Did I really say all of that while being muted? Classic bits. You know what? That's okay. Technically, the party hasn't started yet, so it's okay. Anyway, hello and welcome. That's what I get for like not reading chat for like a minute. But anyway, welcome to the listening party for Dawn's Light and Octopath Traveler 2 Harp Collection. The album is out today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody that pre-ordered. If you did pre-order the album, your digital downloads should have arrived in your inbox early this morning. And if you did not receive them, check your junk folder. If they're not there, shoot me an email and I will help figure that out. If you didn't pre-order, you can still buy it from me if you want to. If you buy the digital version from my website, or if you buy the CD from Bandcamp, you will get a bonus track, which is not on streaming services. But if you just want to stream, it's also available now on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Deezer, and Bandcamp, as I think I mentioned. So obviously though, we're gonna listen to the album together in just a minute, but once the listening party's over, you are free to stream in your place of choice. But yes, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for being here for the listening party. Let's see, we've got Neppy, Rob, Michael, Brandroid, Caladrius, Foreman Spike. Good to see you all. Carrie is here. David, it's happening. Aaron as well. You're not really late, Aaron. I started a couple minutes early. And also I was muted, so you didn't miss anything. We haven't started listening to any of the tracks yet. So yeah, what we're gonna do during this listening party, we're gonna listen to the whole album. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each track as we kind of go through it. And at the end of the listening party, I've got a new music video for you. The music video for Agnea the Dancer. The live stream should redirect you there. If it doesn't, there's links in the pinned message and also in the live stream description, but we'll worry about that a little bit later. Bobby, hello. You're watching on TV. Very cool. I'm on TV. So exciting. But yeah, I'm super happy that this album is now out. It has been quite the labor of love. It's been almost 2 years of working on it, especially like this summer. I really kind of put my nose to the grindstone to get all the mixing and mastering done and all that stuff. And yeah, sometimes when you're doing that, you go a little bit crazy. But now it's not going to be just me as the only person listening to this album. Now you can listen to it too. It's out in the world, and I am just like, I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with it, and I'm like really happy that it's now available for you. So I guess we'll maybe just kind of like get started pretty quickly, because I sort of allotted like 90 minutes for the listening party before the YouTube premiere will start, and the YouTube premiere will happen with or without us. So I want to try to make sure that we get everything covered before the premiere, if possible. So I probably shouldn't talk too much, because the album is 52 minutes. So that leaves me about 38 minutes for chatting. But anyway, Maddie, good to see you. It's been a little while. Okay, so let's just dive in. So the first track we're going to listen to, we're going to change scenes. Ooh, starry. Exciting. Okay, the first track that we're going to listen to is the first track on the album. It's called The Journey Begins. This is the first track that I arranged and the first track that I recorded, because I was just like, it feels symbolic to like start with The Journey Begins. It also felt like very symbolic to have that be the first track on the album, because it's the beginning, and it's like, yeah, you get it. So The Journey Begins in the game. So I'll give a little bit of context for like how some of these pieces appear in the game, because you know, not everyone has played Octopath Traveler 2, but I feel like The Journey Begins in particular has a lot of like story context. So Agnea the dancer, who we're going to hear more from later, when she so she grows up in her village of Cropdale, which we're also going to hear from later. In her village, she's growing up, and her mother is a dancer. She's a famous dancer who's traveled all over the world dancing and singing for people. And Agnea also wants to be a dancer. Unfortunately, her mother passes away when she's young. And then, you know, as she grows up and becomes a young woman, she's like, okay, it's time for me to leave home and pursue my own dream of becoming a world famous dancer. There's a whole thing where her dad doesn't really want her to leave and whatever. But on the night that she does leave her village, she dances at the village festival. And she sings this song, and it's her mom's song. So basically it's a song that her mom always danced to and sang, and that's the song that Agnea performs at the festival before she leaves town. And the lyrics, I don't have, there's like text that goes along with the song. They're not really lyrics because the original song has like a vocal line, but it's like a made up language, and then there's text that appears on screen, but it doesn't like scan exactly to the melody. So I don't have the lyrics directly in front of me. I suppose I could look them up, but basically the gist of it is, we have to say goodbye today, but there'll be no tears. We'll meet again. We're connected to each other. Just think of me when you feel blue. Think of this song, kind of thing. So it's kind of a bittersweet sort of feeling. Like, I feel like there's kind of a layer of like a mother like singing this song to her child as sort of a lullaby. Obviously it's a dance as well, which you're going to hear in the arrangement. And it's kind of a goodbye from Agnea's mom as well. Because, you know, Agnea's mom is gone, but it's not like a really, really sad goodbye. It's kind of like a, you know, we're going to meet again one day, and like a, I believe in you, and like, you're going to be okay. So that's sort of the story of The Journey Begins. So we will listen to that now. And that's the journey begins. So I hope you guys can kind of hear the lullaby, the dance, the goodbye. Thank you everyone for the kind words, and welcome people who are just joining us. Aki and PJ and Rebecca joining us from work. Good to see you all. Thank you everyone. Donald's here as well. Good to see you. Yeah, so that was the first track that I recorded. So I actually recorded that in my old house. It was kind of an interesting experience, like recording and like mixing this album, because the recording setup changed so much, like just between each song. So like stuff recorded at the old place sounded quite different and like had different mixing needs. And then even like in my new house, my studio has kind of evolved over the last like year, with like acoustic treatment and where I put my like portable acoustic baffles and stuff like that, and like mic placement and all that stuff. So it's kind of an interesting challenge, but you know, it all turned out in the end. So next up, we're going to look begins? No, I can't speak and type at the same time apparently. We're going to be listening to the Brightlands. The Brightlands, I love the Brightlands, the original track. I think it was Aaron that said you haven't listened to the original OST yet because you wanted to hear it from the harp first. After you finish listening, after the listening party today, go listening to the original soundtrack too, because it's just like, it's fabulous. One of my favorite things about the Octopath Traveler soundtracks is the instrumentation and just like the instruments that Yasunori Nishiki chooses for each song. Like I think it just really adds so much to each track, and it's really fun for me to then kind of try to translate everything in the original, or as much as I can, onto the harp. So let's see. Aaron said, I saw the photo of the sleeve. My name was there. So cool. Yes, all the patrons who supported all of the album creation, names are in the liner notes. But yeah. So anyway, the Brightlands. I started so in Octopath Traveler, there's 8 characters and you get to choose which one you start with. And I chose a character named Throne. She lives in a place called New Delsta, which is in the Brightlands. So the Brightlands was the first of the kind of areas that I was exposed to. And you're gonna notice that most of this album is the like area music, sort of background music that plays in different parts of the world, as opposed to character themes, which was kind of the focus of the first album. I kind of just, as I played the game, I sort of felt that there were a couple of character themes that would work well on harp, but I think a lot of them really benefit from the instrumentation, as I kind of mentioned. Like Throne's theme, for example, is like a string quartet, and it sounds really cool as a string quartet. And there's a lot of like repeated notes, there's a lot of long notes, which often doesn't really translate as well onto the harp. So so I ended up focusing on a lot of the area music instead, because I mean, I think it's really, really gorgeous. And the Brightlands is not an exception to that. It's like a very like cheerful kind of place, kind of like romantic sounding. I feel like very like hopeful, which I think is kind of interesting, because Throne's story, like she's a thief. She's part of like the criminal underworld and she wants to escape it. So it's like you kind of leave the city where everything is like quite dark and grim, and then you exit out into this like sunny grassland. There's like this romantic, hopeful music. And I think that actually does kind of reflect Throne and her journey towards freedom, which is very cool. Donald said, I often find those area themes are the ones that really take you back in games. That's often true, because those are the ones that you hear the most often, I think. And Rebecca asked, is Octopath 2 a direct sequel to the first game? No, it's not. It's all new characters. The stories are not really connected. It's a different continent. There is like a sort of optional post-game quest where there's like a little connection between the two worlds. You can kind of see how they're connected to each other. But you really don't have to play the first game to play the second game. But anyway, let's have a listen to the Brightlands. And that's the Brightlands. I love how all you guys like are coming up with like different ways to describe it. I think they're all excellent, and I think that's what I really love about Yasunori Nishiki's music the most, is that there's just so many layers in one piece. It's like it's not just happy, it's like it's sunny, there's a spring breeze, there's kind of a fragility to it a little bit. I mean, some of that is the harp, I think. But Rob said, I can imagine the carriages with goods along the main road heading for the city. Like, that's so cool. I love that. Thank you so much, Donald. And Rahul says, recording is so clean. Thank you. Oh, man. Yeah, I've you know, I think I've come a long way with my recording. But yeah, this is actually the first time I'm listening to this since I finalized the masters. I feel like there comes a point, like, because all summer, basically, I just listened to all these tracks over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then I was like, okay, today's the deadline. We're submitting it. And I don't want to listen to it for a while. So yeah, it's kind of fun. Kind of fun to listen to it today. Thank you so much, everybody, for the kind words. I really love this tune. It's super fun. Super fun to play as well. And I think Caladrius was noticing towards the end, kind of the B section comes back, and I tried to incorporate a lot of the like counter melodies and stuff going on from the original. So there's a lot of hands jumping around and stuff like that. It's tricky to play, but it's very fun. I think this is also a piece that I'm really proud of the arrangement, specifically for like the harp writing. Patrons who are of the like arranging tier. One of my patron tiers is you get to watch videos of my arranging process, and I feel like something I said over and over and over again while arranging this album was like, I don't want to overwrite it. I don't necessarily want to make the pieces easy. I want to make them still sound good, but I don't want to put in so many notes that they become impossible to play. Because I feel like on the last album, on Guiding Light, I just kind of wrote whatever I wanted. I was like, I want it to sound like this. I'm going to just put all these notes on the page. And like I played them, but they were really hard. And a lot of them, like I don't even play on stream very often because like I can't sight read them. There's too much in them. So this time, one of my goals was to really not overwrite and to make it a lot more harpable. I feel like the Brightlands fits really nicely under the fingers. It feels really good to play. But anyway, Caladri said, I know I'm getting all the sheet music that can be played on lever harp. I think at the moment it's like Agnea's theme and Toto are like the ones that I have like actual lever harp sheet music for. Cropdale is a harp trio with 2 lever harps and a pedal harp. I would like to make more lever harp versions of songs that I can, but some of them are just so chromatic, so I'm gonna have to think about that in the future. But anyway, let's continue moving because I don't want to run out of time. Next, we are going to listen to the Crestlands. Crestlands, again, it's right next to the Brightlands, so I encountered it very early in my playthrough of Octopath Traveler 2, and this one is like, oh my gosh, it's like so cozy, very like autumn vibes, like really like melancholy, and it's just like so pretty. And the day version actually has harp in it, which is like always a plus. Okay, so let's just jump in and listen to the Crestlands next. I love that one. I spent a really long time fussing with the reverb on this one. I'm like, it has to be just right. Thank you. I really love that track. Yeah, you probably noticed there's a part where the left hand takes the melody and is like kind of playing these chords, and then the left hand or the right hand has like a bunch of sparkly high notes. That's really taken from like the night version of this track. So each of the area music has a night version and a day version. So some of the tracks I mostly pulled from the day version, some of them I mostly pulled from the night version, and some of them I kind of took a mix. And this is definitely one of them. The melancholy just shines through it, right? It's like, it's perfect. It's the perfect melancholy song, you know? Like, it's not really, like, sad, but it's like a little nostalgic. It's just like, mwah. I love this tune. Anyway, let's continue, because it's been half an hour, and we've only gotten through 3 songs. Let's keep going. So the next one is Toto Haha. So this is one that I really pulled from the night version of the track, because it just sort of made a lot of sense. There's a lot of harmonics in this one, a lot of left hand taking the melody and stuff like that. And this one I also spent a really long time fussing over the reverb and various things. But anyway, let's just jump in. Let's just keep going, and let's listen to Toto Haha. Yes, absolutely. This track has much more moonlight, starlight kind of vibes in contrast to, I feel like, yeah, we like start with like bright sun in the brightlands, sunsets through the crestlands, and then we come to the starry skies of Toto. Yeah, so Toto is an island where the beastlings live, who are very playful, and I feel like you can really hear that in like all the syncopated rhythms and stuff. But also it's like jungle and ancient ruins, and so there's like mysteries, a lot of mystery here. Yeah, so a lot of fun with the harmonics in this one. Really fun with all the sparkly stuff way up high in the right hand. Yeah. Michael said this is better than the original. Well, thank you. Very kind. Very kind. What was the comment that I saw? Donald said getting reverb right so it doesn't sound like you recorded it in a cave, but it's just enough to give it that extra sparkle. Exactly. One of the challenges that I actually had while mixing was that when I came to this house, this room, my studio now, is way smaller than the room I used to record in. I used to just record in my living room, which was much bigger and also had like a connected dining room. So there's a lot more space. So I actually didn't have to add as much reverb because there was already like some space in the recorded sound. But all the stuff that I recorded here was so dry that it really took some experimenting to figure out how to get it just the way I wanted, but I'm pretty pleased with the result. Okay, let's continue. So next we are going to listen to the Harborlands. So this is where Casti is from. The Harborlands, obviously, from, you can probably guess from the name, it's on the water. It's a very coastal region. It's also very mountainous. Like there's a lot of like fjords and stuff like that. And the Harborlands was really fun to arrange, and I'm quite pleased with the harp writing in this one as well. But it was really interesting because, you know, going into the arrangement, I was like, oh yes, it sounds very grand. You know, it opens up with like a lot of like kind of lower brass and low strings and stuff like that. But there's also like a very playful side to this piece as well. So it's kind of this like balance between the grandness and the majesty of like the mountains, but there's this like, yeah, there's this cool playfulness that in the original track, it's like oboe and violin, and there's kind of this like high and low kind of interplay that I think is like just really cool. This track was also challenging for me in a number of ways. First of all, I had a really hard time writing the ending. So with video game music, it usually loops. And so, but if I'm writing like a harp version, I typically like to write an ending so it actually sounds like the song is over and not just like fade out a repeat. And for this one, for whatever reason, I just couldn't quite figure out how to get the ending to sound right. I must have written like 10 different versions of it. I recorded one, and then when I was editing, I was like, oh, I don't like it. It was like, I wrote something that was just like really dramatic and over the top, and it didn't match the rest of the arrangement. So I was like, okay, I need to redo it. So I wrote probably another 5 or 6 different versions of the ending, and then picked one I like, re-recorded it. But then when I went to edit it and I listened to it, I realized that the way I had set up the room was quite different. And so the two recordings, because I only re-recorded the end, so I had like 2 stems, and you could really hear when it switched over from one to the other. I feel like maybe I shouldn't even be telling you this because you probably wouldn't notice. And you still might not notice exactly where the changeover happens, because after much wizardry in the DAW, I managed to blend them pretty well, I think, and I don't think you can really tell where it switches from one to the other. So, pat on the back for me. Yeah. Okay. Let's listen to the Harborlands. I guess you can keep an ear out, see if you can hear the changeover. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, if you can. But either way, I guess, you know, that's why you come to the listening party, so you can get the inside scoop. But anyway, I'll be quiet now, and we'll listen to the Harborlands. And that's the Harborlands. Thank you, everybody. I like what Galadriel said, like the first ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds after a storm. That's so good. Yeah, so that's the Harborlands. Next, we are going to listen to the Winterlands. So this one was kind of interesting. So Michael said, I failed the challenge, so congrats. Thank you. So the next song we're going to listen to is the Winterlands. And this one I actually had done a collab with Purple Shala, who's a pianist here on YouTube, really fabulous pianist. And we did a piano and harp version of that, which was really cool. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to just like copy that entirely. I want to make something that's like a little bit different, a little bit new. Yeah, this one is really cool on the harp, I think, because you get to make use of a lot of the different registers on the instrument. You get the really high sparkly stuff, you get the harmonic sounds, you get the mid-range, which kind of copies like the cello sound from the original, you get some of the bass, like it's very fun. Rahul said, I'm the #1 Purple Shala fan. Yeah, I'm there with you, dude. She's awesome. Okay. Aaron said, I love winter and water music. Well, then you're in luck. Because we've got not one, but 2 wintry songs on this album, actually. So let's just dive right in and we'll listen to the first of them, which is the Winterlands. So that's the Winterlands, the first of our snowy tracks. Thank you, everybody. So the following track is not the Frostlands. That's from the last album. Everything on this album is from Octopath Traveler 2. So the next song we're going to listen to is called Without Hope, Without Warmth. And this is the music that plays in the city of Stormhail, which is in the Winterlands region. It's a little town on the top of a mountain, very cold place, as you can imagine from the title. Without hope, without warmth. So let's see, without hope, without warmth. So this one, whatever, I'm just gonna leave the text where it is, it's fine. This one is a multi-harp track. It was just the perfect opportunity to have like layer in a bunch of different harp parts. My lever harp, my legend, my black lever harp makes an appearance in this one. Mostly just, I think the only thing it does, there's like these repeated chords at the beginning, that's what the lever harp does, and then the pedal harp takes the rest. But there's lots of harmonics, lots of fun stuff. There's like a very fun like 16th note run part, which I had a lot of fun learning. But yeah, let's jump in and listen to Without Hope, Without Warmth. So that one I did do a fade out because I was just like, it just needs it, you know? So that's Without Hope, Without Warmth. Really, a really cool track, I think. So the next one we will listen to is the Wildlands. So the Wildlands is kind of a badland area, lots of canyons and sort of like orange rock. So we're leaving the winterlands into still a fairly barren landscape. This is the land of prospectors, primarily. Scraggly brush and deep canyons and that sort of thing. So the Wildlands is very much also a night version of this track. I briefly entertained the idea of doing the daytime version, but it's just like, it's very like cowboy. And quickly I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. So yeah, so the Wildlands is the nighttime version of it. And the thing that the image that kind of stays with me is there's a song called Sweet Baby James by James Taylor. And the first verse is like about a cowboy. You know, he lives in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyon, and as the moon rises, he sits by his fire. You know, he sings out a song as if someone could hear. That's really what I sort of like was thinking about with this one. Rebecca said, well, you're gonna have to prepare yourself to basically play all of these tracks all the time on live streams from now on. I am prepared, and actually, so if anyone watching is from Winnipeg, from the Winnipeg area, that's where I live, I'm doing a concert at the end of this month, so I've been practicing everything. There's a couple of tracks that are not really solo performance friendly, which is Without Hope, Without Warmth is one of them. Cropdale also, I don't have a solo harp version at the moment, but the rest of them I've been practicing, so I should be able to play them on stream. But yes, if you do live in Winnipeg, there's a link to concert tickets down below, so you should definitely come if you're in the area. But let's continue on, and we'll listen to the Wildlands next. There we are. That's the Wildlands. That's the longest track on the album. So long, in fact, that the license costs a little bit more than the other songs. When I saw that, I was like, ah, shoot. But I wanted to take it under tempo a bit because I just really wanted this to sound like very sleepy and calm. Okay, so next we are, well, first of all, we're going to hear Bilbo scratching his scratch mat. Hey, buddy. Do you want to say hi to everyone? He says no. He does not. Oh, well. The next track we are going to listen to is Hinoama. So, Hinoama is the desert region in Celestia. And Hinoama is another very like layered piece. I feel like there's a lot to it. So Hinoama is a region that's like very war-torn, and the character who begins his journey there, Hikari, really wants to put an end to that. He fights for his friends, of course, and he wants to take the throne of his kingdom, so that, you know, he can work towards reigning in peace. So I feel like Hinoama, there's like a mysteriousness to it. There's sort of an anxiety to it a little bit, but there's also like some of the melody I feel sounds like quite majestic. Some of it is like quite hopeful, and then there's also kind of like parts of it. There's like a part of it that I really pulled from the night version, where like the vocals kind of come in and they sing these like cluster chords, and I always called it the ghost choir section. So I did that with harmonics, and I think it's really cool. So there's like kind of like, you know, the people who've died in the wars. There's like kind of the dangerousness of a desert itself. There's, you know, fighting for your friends. Like all these things come together in this one piece. So let's jump in and listen to Hinoama. That's Hinoama. Ahsoka said, those juicy chords. Yes, so juicy. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, that's a really fun one, and it was definitely a challenging one to arrange, not least of all because there's like that ostinato, that like repeating dee da 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 that like runs through most of the track, and so I was like, how am I gonna do this? But as you can hear, I found a way through it. But yeah, thank you so much. So next up, we're leaving the harshest of the landscapes behind. The winterlands, the wildlands, Hinoama, we're done with that. And next, it's time for the leaflands. So the leaflands is an area of the game where the music is really heavily inspired by Celtic music, which as soon as I got there and I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I love it so much, because I love Celtic music. So naturally, when it came time to arrange these pieces, I was like, oh, I'd love to play this on my Celtic harp, you know, bring some real Celtic feel to it. Unfortunately, Yasunori Nishiki can't resist a key change, can't resist modal mixture, and so it's a lot more chromatic than Celtic music usually is. And so I sort of was looking at it and going, okay, if I try to do like a lever harp solo, I'm gonna have to leave out a lot of notes so I can accommodate the key changes and stuff. And I actually ended up, there's like a key change that happens towards the end, like just before the repeat, that even was like kind of too much for the pedal harp. So I actually changed the key of that section. So it's still changing key, but to a key that's like a little bit nicer, less pedals for me to change. So ended up what I ended up doing was making this a duet between the pedal harp and the lever harp to kind of layer on top of each other and kind of get some of the Celtic flavor, while the pedal harp can kind of carry some of the harmony. So let's listen to the leaflands. And I think while I let the leaflands play, I'm gonna go and give Mr. Bilbo his lunch, because I don't think he's gonna make it another half hour. Okay, here we go. This is the leaflands. So that's the Leaflands. Yes, very cozy, very homey. I love that one. All right, we're pretty on track, I would say, for making our video premiere at 12:30. So the next song is, let's see here, Cropdale Village. We'll put a line break at peace. There we go. So Cropdale is the town where Agnea starts her journey. It's where she's from. Also extremely Celtic. I love the original version of this track so much. Like the flute is like, I could just fall asleep inside that flute sound. So I really wanted to create that like really warm feeling in my arrangement of it as well. And once again, it's a little chromatic in places, a little too chromatic for the Celtic harp for what I wanted to do with it, but I still wanted to include that sound. And so what I ended up doing was arranging this as a harp trio for my 3 harps. So my pedal harp took the more complicated stuff, and then my 2 lever harps, which are currently off screen, but my black Heartland Legend and my Fisher harp. The Fisher harp has not gotten a lot of screen time on the channel since I bought it, but it has a very prominent, like the first harp solo in this trio is the Fisher harp, and it has like, it's such a nice sound for this. Because I think one of the things that makes these tracks so charming is the way that the melody gets passed around between different instruments, or it gets doubled or whatever. So we get to have that with all the different harps as well. Okay, here we go. This is Cropdale Village at Peace. There we are, that's Cropdale. Ah, I love that. I love the end of this one where all the harps start playing together. Thank you so much, everybody. So there's 2 more tracks. I think we've got just enough time to listen to both of them before the video premiere. We've got Agnea, the dancer. So I'm going to talk about this one quickly. I think we can listen to it twice. I don't think anyone's going to mind that. So we'll listen to it and then we'll watch the video premiere for the music video for the song afterwards. But Agnea is another ensemble piece. I think there is like at least 6 harp tracks, like 2 for each harp of the 3 harps, and then like a couple extra for like glissando and stuff. It was a tough one for me to mix. It was a challenge. I'm not used to working with that many tracks. But yeah, I really felt like with Agnea's theme. So Agnea's theme is like basically a Celtic jig, an Irish jig kind of. And again, I just felt like so much of the energy came from like passing the melody around, multiple instruments like jumping in. Yeah, I think this one was super fun. This one I arranged and recorded in about a week, I think, last September, because I wanted to film a video that month. This was back when I thought this album was going to come out in the spring this year, but anyway, that's not what happened. But let's just listen to it, because I want to make sure we don't run out of time. So we are now going to listen to Agnea's theme. So that's Agnea's theme. Super fun. The ending there with all the harps kind of trailing off. I wrote that because when I've been to Celtic harp circles, that's how every song ends. It's like people kind of trail off in their own way. So I wanted the ending to sound like that. But yes, we will see the music video for that in just a second. But before that, we have one more track. Kyver, thank you so much for the €5. I really appreciate that. So the last track on the album, it's the bonus track. So this is a track that you'll only get to listen to if you either buy the CD on Bandcamp or if you buy the digital version directly from me on my website. There's links in the live stream description. Of course, if you pre-ordered, then you've already got this song. But Journey for the Dawn, this is like after everything has happened in the game. I'm talking fast because I don't want to be late for the premiere. Everything that's happened, you defeated evil, and then it's time for everyone to go home from their adventures. So Journey for the Dawn is like quite nostalgic. It like ties this nice little bow on everything. And it brings in the Octopath Traveler main theme and transforms it in some really cool ways. And this song, like, it's the nostalgia in it is like, it's so yummy. It's so good. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna listen to the last track, the bonus track, Journey for the Dawn. Here we go. That's the end. Thank you so much for coming to this listening party for Dawn's Light and Octopath Traveler 2 Harp Collection. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being excited about this with me. It's always really cool to, like, you know, work really hard on something and then people, you know, care about it. That's pretty cool. So thank you so much for coming today. Now, unfortunately, I can't wax poetic for very long because we have a video premiere to get to. So Agnea the Dancer music video. I'm gonna end the stream. When I do, you should be redirected to the music video. If you're not, the link is pinned in the pinned message in chat, and it's also in the live stream description. So I'm gonna end the stream right now so we can get over there, and I'll meet you there, okay? Thanks again for coming. And end stream. Ciao.